where he still had hair. I keep thinking those are the same movie. Damn, they're the same plot.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 19. Here to go. Oh, man, one more. Can't even wait. I'm your man, Tony.
Yeah.
This is my boy, Tafari. We're talking about Hobbs and Shaw today. Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw. Oh, boy. I've been wondering about this movie from the get-go when they announced it. And to be honest, it was everything I expected it to be. It was good.
This
It was a good movie.
was
T, what are
definitely
your
worth
opening
all of
thoughts on it?
Tyrese's tears.
Oh man, that's good.
It
like
was
that.
definitely worth Tyrese having a mental breakdown on the internet for like 3 months.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know about that, we're gonna go into that a little bit. For now, let's just talk a little bit about the movie. For those of you who don't know, spoiler alerts, which is everything we pretty much do on here. So if you don't know, you're about to get it now. Basically, it's a spin-off from the Fast and Furious franchise. There's no Vin Diesel. There's no Michelle Rodriguez. There's none of those people. It's be kind of like its own franchise, but the characters are connected because of their, or lack thereof, from the Fast and Furious franchise. Pretty much, it's a side story where Hobbs and Shaw finally had to team up and actually do some teamwork shit and actually have to catch the bad guy together. Although, do they do it pleasantly? Do they do it willingly? Not really. Not really. I'll tell you what, the bitching and the little fighting between them two, I knew it was gonna be the thing, because everyone talks about the chemistry between them, including the trailers, behind the scenes, all that, and they had good chemistry when they teamed up for Furious 7.
I didn't see the last one. I didn't see Fate of the Furious, so I don't know what history or whatever banter they have building up to this. I went in this completely blind.
Right. Furious 8. I'm sorry. Furious 8 was the one where they teamed up and everything with Deckard Shaw and Luke Hobbs. And I knew that little bit. They did admit that. I watched that movie a few times on like DirecTV or whatever, and I'll admit it was good. Like, you could tell the little bickering they had. Did I think they could do an entire movie of that? I wasn't sure.
So did you saw Fate of the
What
Furious?
I'm saying? Yes, I saw Fate of the Furious a few times.
Did we get over the fact that they killed Old Boy in Tokyo Drift? Are we just letting that go, or does that get addressed?
If I'm not mistaken, I think that dude's just like old news.
Really?
After like Fast 5 or 6, which is the one where they steal the money from the huge drug deal in
Right.
Brazil. I think that's 5. That's when Luke Hobbs finally came into the franchise. Um, I think after that after Fast 6, because 6 is the one with the runway, the longest runway
Yeah.
ever in like human history. Um, After that, that's pretty much like he's kind of out of the picture because that's when because Furious 7 is them is Paul Walker's last movie and him fighting and them fighting Deckard Shaw, who killed Han to get to Vin Diesel.
Yeah, so I feel like I didn't see the eighth one, so I'm like, did we just let it go that he killed one of their friends? Like I kept thinking that the whole movie, but he was too hilarious for me to like not like his character.
No, I agree completely. Like, Statham and Haas may not have like comedic like bones or like comedic history, but man, they're funny, dude. Both of them like individually, and then obviously with this whole movie, they did really well
Yeah,
together.
I didn't know who Jason Statham was until what was it? Cranked. I didn't know him until he did that movie.
Really,
Cranked
Crank?
was like my first
You never
film with him in it.
you never seen the Transporter series?
I've never been through one of those movies. Like I've heard they're good. I've just never caught them when they're on TV. I've heard they're great, but like Cranked was like my first film that I've seen with him.
I'll admit, if Crank's first movie with Statham, like in, in which you movie.
Yeah, and then
Crank was really good. Crank 2, High Voltage. Then he did the whole Expendables franchise with Stallone and all them people.
I saw the first
He did
two,
that.
didn't see the third one, but I've heard they're all great. I heard there's a fourth one coming.
Oh, great! More action stars that can't act for crap. But
The movie,
hey, man,
I like the first one the best. Just my favorite scene out of those movies is when Terry Crews shows up and is just blowing people to bits.
I know with his automatic shotgun, bro, it's so damn nasty. Um, and then what's so funny is Statham was actually an Olympic swimmer before before turning to acting.
Really?
He didn't go to the Olympics, but he was like sort of on the team. But I guess he just never made like the final cut to go to the actual Olympics. But yeah, he was a swimmer for a team like UK. Yeah.
I had never would have guessed that about that dude.
The only reason I know that, for those of you guys, it's an interesting story. The only reason I know is because in the Expendables 2, they were supposed to pull off a stunt where Statham's driving a truck and he like drives it into the water, into the lake or whatever. But when they were filming, the door actually got stuck and wouldn't open like it was supposed to. But due to his swimming abilities, he was able to get out and get to safety. If it wasn't for that, we probably would have heard Jason Statham dying. Basically.
Jesus.
Yeah, super lucky, man. And then of course we all know. If you don't know, you've sort of been living under a rock when it comes to Dwayne Johnson's whole past and history. You know, like having $7 in his pocket when everything's said and done. Went to the U.
This guy.
Um, um, Best football team in the country, best college football team in the country at the time. At the time, we won't say now, but at the time they were. Linebacker wanted to go to the NFL and everything, but then he gets hurt, and then there's pretty much nothing left to do. But with all the wrestling history, his grandfather was a wrestler, his father was a wrestler, he had an uncle that was a wrestler. He got into wrestling, and that's how we came to know him as The Rock, and then everything else is pretty much everyone knows. Then the Mummy movie, then the Scorpion King, and then until he finally got in the Fast and Furious franchise.
Is he still the top grossing actor? I feel like he was maybe like less than a year ago when last time they like did the rankings.
I know the maybe in like the last year, maybe, but I know for sure the top highest grossing actor of like all time is either Harrison Ford or Samuel L. Jackson. The last I heard, it was Jackson.
Well, yeah, I think
I'm talking about all of them movies, all of the grossing.
true. The Rock is steadily
Yeah.
climbing up there. Like this is like a summer classic for this year. That shit was just hilarious start to finish. Also,
Yeah.
I was expecting like certain cameos that never showed up from like the main characters, but the people who did show up I was dying the entire film.
Yeah, no. I was actually disappointed with that because I heard it was supposed to be a bunch of you. They were great. They were both great. They were both funny as hell. But just two of them, that's it. I expected like more. That's the around this movie
Was it?
that there were a lot of cameos.
I heard nothing about it. I thought maybe just for the sake of the franchise, they'd like shoehorn a scene of Vin Diesel in there somewhere. No, it wasn't what I expected, but I'm happy with what we got.
No, definitely. Again, spoilers. We got his Lock, dude. Oh my god, he was the funniest. He really was.
You could tell he was just being himself. Like Deadpool and then Locke are just Ryan Reynolds being the best Ryan Reynolds he can be.
Dude, I don't even think he's acting in that scene. He's literally just being himself, but using different names. You know what I'm saying?
Did you see the? He had an end credit scene too.
Both of them. The one right after, and the one at the very end.
Yeah, he had two, and it was just him bantering about nothing.
Right. Of course, Kevin Hart as Dinkley. Oh my god, bro.
Yeah, Kevin Hart is an air marshal. That shit was funny.
Dinkley. Oh my god, what a terrible fucking name.
No, the names they kept giving each other when they had to go like change identities and stuff.
Oh man, that was good. That was good. I'm not gonna lie. I had seen like a teaser of that on Twitter like a week before the movie came out, where it's like we're all gonna have seats, and then the lady goes, then Statham, and then Mike Coxmall. I go by Michael.
And then Hugh Janus at the end.
That was really good. Oh man, what I didn't expect was the fact that they detained The Rock. I didn't see that coming, dude.
I mean, that's like their usual back and forth, though. They hate each other, and they're secretly trying to get each other in trouble, even towards the end of the damn movie.
Yeah, no, that's why that scene where Hobbs called up Shaw, and no, just checking up on you and this huge Angus, get out here! Oh man, that was good. That was really
I'm curious to see how he fought his way out of like 20 London police, but
I'm sure he did. If his sister broke their mom out of a prison with like no trouble, I'm pretty sure he went through 20 cops like no.
Was the mom in previous films? Again, I missed like the last two. So was she in the plot anywhere in like this storyline?
She was in the last one, Fate of the Furious. What's his name? Dom pretended to like have a problem with his car, and then a right angle where no one could see him, not even the lady controlling him. And he went in there and basically said, "Listen, I need your help. I can give you pretty much your sons." Or whatever, something like that. He asked for her help, and then that's how she got into the franchise too.
Gotcha.
And she is Darren Owen Shaw's mom.
Amp, I see you holding a mic. Do you have something to add?
Yeah. So, I read the rumor mill online that Keanu Reeves was going to be a villain or some type of antagonist, either joining the Fast and the Furious franchise or was actually going to be in this movie. Now, from what I've read and everything, he's not in the movie, and I'm kind of upset about that because I love Keanu Reeves. Where the heck was he, or is all this just BS?
There was no.
I'll take my call off air. I'll take my call off air.
There was no Keanu in this movie. It was all Ryan Reynolds and Kevin Hart holding down the cameo spots.
Those were the only people. Yeah.
The thing is, though, it works. Like, they didn't have to go and cram like a Marvel amount of cameos in here. They just had two people, and it worked for the entire length of the film.
Mm-hmm. I just want to know, like, why that rumor would even be out there. That's straight bull,
That's
man.
news to me.
Why would you put that out there when you know that he or you know? I saw a rumor like that. That means they had to have seen the movie. I feel like.
I have no idea. This movie kind of gave no idea as to where the franchise is going because the end credit scenes was just Ryan Reynolds as himself. So they're worth staying behind and watching. Like, I sat in the theater at a matinee solo waiting for it by myself. Had to hang out with the usher for like 10 minutes. But, yeah, it's worth sitting behind and watching. But I don't know what they're going to do, if there even is going to be like a 10th one, or if this counts. But I think Keanu was focused on that Cyberpunk and John Wick money.
Yes, exactly. There you go. Well, you know what? Because Amp tells us about the rumor with Keanu Reeves. Well, the other one half of that was that he was supposed to be in the movie, which he is not, clearly. The bottom is he's supposed to be an antagonist or a bad guy in the franchise. Fast and Furious or Hobbs and Shaw is kind of all the same thing. What if he was the voice that was talking to Brixton the whole time?
That's another thing. I didn't know who the voice was, and I'm like, maybe it's someone from a previous film that we know, and I just missed out on it, or we will figure this out later.
Because when the voice talked to Shaw and Hobbs, he knew Hobbs.
Yeah.
And they knew each other, and that it would be a hell of a reunion. At first, that made me think it's Locke, the Ryan Reynolds guy. But that doesn't really quite make sense now because they already had a reunion at the beginning of the movie, and then they even had the phone calls at the end of the movie.
Yeah, like I could have seen it being Ryan Reynolds. Like I thought they were going to maybe show it, but I'm like, well, I guess we're keeping this a secret for the future maybe. But who?
See, that's what I thought, especially with the end credit scene with Reynolds when he was like literally killing everyone.
Yeah.
But now that Amp mentions it, what if it is Keanu as the antagonist, the guy behind the voice?
If it is, I need a Keanu Reeves and Ryan Reynolds interaction. I just need like 30 seconds of banter between the two of those characters.
Bro, fire, you know that, right?
Yeah. Although I think Idris Elba did a good job with the banter between him and Shaw. Like between just the three of them going back and forth. He did a great job as the villain, first off.
I honestly believe that Idris Elba has become or is becoming one of my favorite actors.
I also keep forgetting he's European.
Because everything he does, I seem to like. You know, whether it's like comedy or action like this. When I heard he was gonna be the bad guy, I loved it. I really did.
Yeah, the fact that they built he's basically like the Terminator in this film with like a robotic he's like he's kind of like what was his name? He's kind of like Abomination in the Hulk. How they just did 1,000 science experiments to make him like a mechanical monster minus the mutation.
Yeah, he's basically the black suit.
Yeah, like when they're like
that's my
when they're like operating and he's just sitting there with his spine just exposed and they're like drilling screws into him.
Yeah, man, he's all robot now. Now the thing is, just because he was decommissioned at the very end, I don't think he's out of the picture completely.
Yeah, I feel like they could either say he died or they just went and had somebody recover him. Because the fact that he's like, oh, we're just gonna decommission. I'm like, if he doesn't explode or something, he can definitely be a plot device.
Yeah, because I feel like while he was a lot of robot, you know, his back, his mind, his eyes, all that crap, man, unless there's a bomb, bro, I'm pretty sure he's still alive. Or could come back. You know what I'm saying?
Do we want to jump into Tyrese's tears?
Just gonna say, I was just gonna say
Wait, real quick.
For those of you,
Real quick, before you guys jump to Tyrese.
Go ahead.
Oh.
Okay, so I had to look it up because there was a rumor going on that Keanu Reeves was going to be a part of this movie originally. So the director, and I quote, well, I don't quote because I don't have the quote right in front of me, but basically paraphrasing the quote, he said that Keanu Reeves was actually almost about to be the voice or like the main villain, I guess, the mastermind behind everything.
Hey, we were close.
But because of creative differences, they didn't pull the trigger on it.
I feel like that's the same crap as like, you know, Marvel or somebody pulling off a lie in a trailer or something. They could have just said that and be like, okay, Kia, let's get you the rule, let's get your voice out there. Nah, man, that could be bull too.
Andy Scott chimes in. He says his motorcycle was dope as hell.
Okay,
He's
he
talking
had
about
some kind of like the fact that his bike was just like keeping up with him by itself and doing all that transformative shit was insane.
That was a smart bike. That was a smart bike.
That was like some
right
G.I.
there.
Joe movie 2 type shit. And I was here for all of it.
Some Cobra shit from G.I. Joe. Oh man, if Keanu Reeves gets in that frame, this entire year has been the year of Keanu.
I want to say like his character was like wearing the same bulletproof shit that they were wearing at the end of John Wick 3. When he just holds out his hand and blocks like an entire round, like it was nothing.
Yeah, John Wick 3, Toy Story 4, and now he could have Fast and Furious under his belt, man. This entire year has been Keanu's year, bro. Plus, it looks super badass as a robot that apparently can't be shot for crap. So
yeah, bulletproof armor, and then he has like he has like his own version of like Jarvis inside his skull, where he can like predict how fast the punches are coming, how much force that they're hitting him with.
I know. He doesn't even have to say Jarvis, like, analyzing his fight pattern.
Andy calls it an old Albert Einstein type bike.
Old Albert Einstein type.
Oh.
So real quick, to finish up on this rumor of Keanu Reeves, because it is quite interesting to think you have Ryan Reynolds, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Jason Statham, and quite possibly Keanu Reeves all in one film. That's just incredible. And then you sprinkle in some Kevin Hart. I mean, this is just unheard of. So anyways,
all four are action stars too, except for Kevin. All four are action stars because they've each had their own action franchise for the most part.
And we can't
too.
forget about Ibris either. Ibris, an amazing actor. So basically, the director kind of had a one-on-one interview, and he quotes and says this. He says, basically, we came to the conclusion of let's put a pin in it. I'm all for finding opportunities, but I also didn't want to force anything. The mystery at the end of the movie where the director is nameless and faceless seems perfect for our ending because we had so much story we've already told. The backstory with Brixton and Shaw, Hobbs reconnecting with Jonah, Shaw reconnecting with Haiti, Locke's relationship with Hobbs, Dinkle. There was just so much stuff, and we still had to resolve all the family threads. The mystery of what the director is and where it's going to go was left where it needed to be. So the idea that he could still be the director is out there. You know, they could still end up, making him the overall main villain.
Oh, yeah, he's definitely the main, because the way he was running this movie without ever being seen, like he was basically controlling all mass and like minor media throughout the entire planet in like a matter of seconds.
Oh, and Heather Lynn just chimed in. She says the movie could have been a little better.
See, I understand that. I feel like some people are going to be like, all right, like if you watch the first Fast and Furious movie and look where we're at now, you'd be like, all right, this is a bit much. It's like a bit out there, but for like an enjoyable summer action, somewhat family flick, I enjoyed it.
Yeah. For no Oscars, that's for damn sure, but it's a summer movie. There's really not much to expect from that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one you can't compare Endgame or any Avengers or Marvel movie to this. They are two completely different atmospheres, environments, patterns, everything. Right down to the cast, to the writing, to the direction, everything.
I believe The Rock, I think, was a director or producer on this movie too.
He was a producer, yeah. They both
All the
were.
more reason Tyrese was crying. Like,
Tafari Heather says hi, by the way.
Yes.
It's
what
Heather.
up?
Heather from
Yeah,
Intercom.
let me take this out of. This is why I was late. By the way.
So while Tafari's doing that, also I don't know if you guys knew this. The director was actually in the movie. He was the pilot of the helicopter that Ibris killed and threw out of the helicopter.
Of course he was. He did
No
pull the
shit.
Quentin Tarantino.
Of course he was. He kills himself quickly.
He's like, yep, you're doing terrible move.
So, sorry. So you guys were going to talk about the Tyrese crying situation.
Yeah. So when the movie got, they didn't have a title. When the movie got announced, for those who remember, Tyrese was on the internet crying, saying like, "Thanks for making the franchise about you. This is supposed to be like." Fast and the Furious is like a family, and we always do everything together. But now you're leaving us out. You're new here, and how dare you come and make your own solo film? And that's how you get him breaking down. That's how you get the "What more do you want from me?" And Sway the Remix God, if you found it before his channel got deleted, made a kick-ass song out of it.
Yeah, man. I mean, I understand Tyrese's frustrations. I do. Because it's one thing when you weren't one of the OGs in the franchise. You're new. You came in like 3 movies ago.
He came in on
you
like
weren't here
movie
from the
5.
beginning. Like,
Tyrese came in on movie number 2.
Right. Tyrese has been there since 2. Diesel's been there since 1. Blah, 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 right? I understand it. But at the same time, if you're The Rock and you kind of want to do your own thing with it, and he sees an opportunity for that, I would take that shit too.
Yeah. I don't blame him for taking the money and be like, word? All right, let's do this. I thought like maybe he... Because I remember there was like a whole thing with, I think it was Furious 8, which I still haven't seen, where The Rock was like, yeah, if you see me looking pissed off at certain actors on set, I'm not acting. I thought it was all hype for the movie. I realize now that might have been him and Tyrese. I don't know what interactions they had on screen during that film, or if their characters talked a lot. But apparently they've had a beef going for like a while now, and I thought it was all just hype for each film. But apparently they real life don't like each other.
No, I think 8 was the beef between The Rock and Vin Diesel because they had beef before.
Apparently, but I mean, I can't really... I mean, Tyrese has other means of living. I'm pretty sure he still gets checks off of Baby Boy reruns.
See, that's what he mentioned that too. Like, you're basically taking money from me because he's in a huge, apparently, custody battle over his daughter.
Right, that's why he had a breakdown.
With like legal fees and everything. So he's like, you're taking money out my pocket, or you're doing this whole solo thing. It ain't helping nobody but you and blah blah blah. And I'm just like, okay, The Rock is not the only person in this movie. Deckard Shaw, Jason Statham was there too. They both decided to do this movie, not just The Rock.
Yeah, but it was Hobbs and Shaw. So
yeah.
So I get why he's mad.
So I mean,
he also had an album that dropped like between all this, and The Rock went and just like threw all the shade at it that he could.
Right.
So I'm gonna guess Tyrese isn't doing too hot in his pockets right now.
Yeah, man. Well, you know what? I don't think here's the kicker that I really got my attention though, right? Tyrese said, or like made it public, or told the people from the Fast and Furious. He basically was like at the Furious 8 when he found out that The Rock and them announced Hobbs and Shaw. He said, or again, publicly announced, or he told the Fast and Furious people, if The Rock gets to film the Hobbs and Shaw movie and he ends up in Furious 9, I'm done with the franchise. I'm never coming back.
You are not top billing enough to make statements like that. Like I would be, I like Tyrese, but I'll be fine with just Ludacris, honestly.
You see, it's that. That's what I thought too, because he's acting like Antonio Brown when he's still like an unknown player compared to what he's bragging. You feel me?
Is that a 60-minute
Like
suspension topic for after this show?
yes. 60-minute suspension. Y'all should watch that.
Right after
Y'all tune in for that. It's great. But he's basically making like A/B demands when he's still like second string offense. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that was a little bit too much.
A little bit.
But to my knowledge, he's not in Furious 9. They're filming right now, and he's not in it.
Well, the movie was definitely worth all of his crying because, what is it? They made close to $200 million on opening weekend, which is 191.1, and that's technically the lowest out of all Fast and Furious movies. Top dog is Furious 7.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, Furious 7 made the most with $353 million over the course of its entire run. First week, this film made 41.7% of that, which is still good. I didn't like how Forbes and other titled it. First week, Hobbs and Shaw was almost worse for the franchise. But they still made way above their budget. So why even title it like that?
What was their budget?
I don't remember, but I know that this movie made way more than what they were given. Especially with all the not even special effects, but the clear CGI for the fight scenes, all the slow-mo they did when they were beating the shit out of each other at the end, which was just funny to me. And then all the explosives they definitely used at the end. Every joke I've ever heard about Samoans was definitely confirmed in this movie.
It's the explosions part and basically the entire movie that when I was watching it, it literally made me think some shit like an explosion would happen. Okay, that's about $250,000 right there.
Really?
And then during that barrel explosion, well, I'm just throwing out numbers. But the barrel explosion at the end of the movie when the helicopter was hooked onto the car, every barrel, I was like 250, 3, 500, 500, 500. How do they pay for these things, man?
No, I guarantee when Cinema Sins, if they do it, there's going to be a lot of everyone survives this sins. Because when they fell and they found the one pool of water, but his sister and Idris Elba were in the plane and they were just perfectly fine. I'm like, okay, that's where I'm like, this is a little bit extra. These two found the one little puddle of water that was deep enough to safely land in. She just fell in a plane and is fine.
A random waterfall, too.
Right.
A random waterfall with just enough deep-ass water for both of them to make it. Plus, I've said this to so many people that I watch movies with. There's not a single time you can watch a movie where if a helicopter crashes, it is never a good crash. It's always horrible. People are usually end up dead because it's not like a plane where you can sort of level off and land safely,
right.
kind of like Sully, except that was on water. A helicopter, no matter what you do, whether it spins out of control from a rotor or the top spinning rotors on the very top are break apart and everything, it's never a good crash, ever. But somehow in this movie, the three people who happen to be in the helicopter, including the female protagonist, the antagonist, and the side antagonist, they all managed to survive.
Yeah, I was surprised the pilot wasn't just killed off as fodder.
Oh, man. Well, you know what? What do you really expect out of an action film like that? You know what I'm saying? People, not even just in this action movie, in the whole Fast and Furious franchise, bro, where Dom literally crashes through buildings, submarines, and blah, 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 and survives everything.
And then The Rock was when they got kidnapped the first time, and he's using the people as ways of jumping down the building. He'll jump out of the building, land on one guy who's tight roping down, use him to jump to the next, and does that for 3 people, and then just drops 1,000 feet and lands on Idris completely fine.
As soon as I saw that in the trailer, I was like, "Bro, are you
Yeah, there are some
serious?"
scenes where you're just like, okay, get real. But you're like, all right, I'll just take this for what it is. It's an action film.
This when I saw that in the trailer, I was just like, "This mother just gonna fly right through the air and ain't nothing gonna happen to him, man." Come
My
on,
favorite part of the
dog.
end was the action. Was like the entire final fight. Well, the big brawl at the end between the Samoans and the army. Because my whole thing was like, how do they not just get gunned down immediately? So the fact that they jammed all their weapons on some Call of Duty, like, what is the word I'm thinking of? I don't want to say UAV. That's wrong. I'm blanking on the word. Someone knows what I'm talking about. You can hit them in Battlefield too, but you just jam
EMP,
everyone's like
EMP.
sights and stuff. Or
Yeah.
EMP, that's what it was. They hit like an EMP and jammed all their weapons, and they're just whooping everyone's ass with like sticks and clubs.
See, I was wondering about that when I first saw the trailer. I was like, hold up, they're going to fight these guys by tackling them, hand-to-hand combat, all that crap. Don't these guys have guns? But then, obviously, just like you mentioned, they were able to hack them through the glove that the sister had. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. That solves the whole problem now. Because it literally gave them like 10 minutes of freedom. And clearly, the bad guy's side was not ready to fight a bunch of football players turned Samoan or whatever.
I want to say that is like, as someone who's seen it, I've never seen it in person, but like I've watched teams do it. A Samoan chant before a football game is some of like the most intimidating shit you could ever come up with. Like, especially if you get like a bunch. There's a school, Dr. Phillips High School down here. I think when they went to state one year when I was in like middle school, they did it before every game, and it had like every team they played shook, and it was just like, I don't get how you get that many people coordinated and then just repeating those. Like, I have no idea what they're saying, and I've played some Samoan football players. Those dudes are from another planet.
Yeah, it's called the Haka.
Yeah, the Haka. They did did it for, I think, this movie, and I think they did it before the premiere of Aquaman.
Yeah, they Jason Momoa did it at the premiere of Aquaman. What should I call it? The New Zealand team usually does it before every sports event, for basketball, for rugby, for soccer. They do it for everything because it's a real traditional thing. And I've seen like multiple videos of it because I'm so interested in it. Man, you want to talk about getting intense and in your face and loud and everything, man? Bro, oh my God, man.
Yeah, that is one thing I respect about the culture. Those people rally for their own, and that is just, I don't know, that's like a war cry or something. Like, we played these Samoan football players from Chicago, and these dudes were doing things I've never seen another athlete do. Like, we hit, what is it, one of them was a receiver, gets hit. His friend, cousin, whatever, from across the field just teleports over to where he was. And I shit you not, this dude jumps off his feet, upside down, does a cartwheel. As he's upside down, catches the ball that his cousin just fumbled and keeps running like it's nothing. Like, if I could find that footage, I would, but Samoans are unreal people. Like, I see why people make jokes about how much they rally and how, like, unrealistic their physical features are. Those dudes are crazy.
Yeah, no, I think the most recent one that's like I think the most recent just because it went viral on Twitter and everything.
Yeah.
And an LSU football player. I think he was a D lineman. But he played for LSU. You know, he got the suit. He's got the suit. He's got the gear all clean. And he has the little like what do you call those things in Hawaii that they put over you full of flowers?
The reef. I'm not sure what the name is correct though.
I forget no, it's not a lane. Whatever. He had one of those things right, but he's just doing the tradition his family does. His dad and his brother were part of the crowd that was like fenced off, you know, cheering for the whole team because they got there and everything.
Right.
He walks up to him, hugs both of them, and then he starts doing it where he takes off his like $200 headphones from like Beats by Dre. He puts down his bag and he's like, oh, oh my God, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
all right,
dude, just watching crap like that gets me pumped up, man.
All right, we've been given our 2-minute warning. Final thoughts? Go ahead.
I'll give it a 8.5 out of 10. It's exactly what it's supposed to be, an action movie. Funny guys in Dwayne The Rock Johnson and Jason Statham. Funnier than I really anticipated. The girl herself, Vanessa Kirby, she stood out to me as well. Idris Elba, perfect bad guy. Can't really ask for a better bad guy. But yeah, 8.5 out of 10. Definitely. I wouldn't take your young kids to see this because there is a bunch of cursing.
Yeah, they're swearing.
But your teenage kids, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll give it a 9 out of 10. Cameos were great. The movie's everything it should be. It's a great way to end the summer. We've had Endgame. We've had Quentin Tarantino's movie. We've had Spider-Man.
Toy Story.
We've had a couple other films we've talked about here and there. This is a good way to finish off your summer movie binge. So I would say 9 out of 10. Go see it if you can. Catch a matinee, whatever, $5 movie day. What do we want to do next week? We have It and I believe Good Boys.
I know It comes out in September.
Does it? I thought it was next week.
Nah, it comes out September 6th.
Well, we got the Seth Rogen movie with like the badass kids next week.
Good Boys. That looks like it could be really funny.
All right, so Good Boys it is. We have to get the hell out of here because Amp has to get ready for his show. So, Tony, take us out.
Stay tuned in for Amp Show. You're going to love it. Don't want to miss it. Thank you guys for tuning in this week. Next, so 2-0. The Good Boys. I'm your man, Tony. This is my boy, Tafari. Tune in next week, guys. See you then.
Prince are out. Yeah.